Okay?
Here, down through. Make sure you reach. Short one, John. Just get to me.
Hi everybody, John back again. Good to be back. Been away for the summer. Had quite a busy summer and relaxing time. It's been a while since I've made a video, and now seems to be a very good time to come back and show a few records that I've picked up. I've still got a few records actually that I haven't showed from the first half of the year, and I've managed to pick up one or two over the summertime too, so I'm going to show you some of those. This batch that I've picked out are mainly records released in the 60s, although one or two of them maybe from 1970, but we'll go from there. This is a record I've had for a long time now. Roy Orbison sings. It's actually a compilation. It's, I think, about 4 songs are by Roy Orbison. A few more are by Jerry Lee Lewis, and then there's this guy Tommy Rowe. That's not a bad record actually. Original. I paid £1 for this in a charity shop. Great condition. On Allegro. And I don't know why I haven't shown it until now. Just haven't really had sort of the right context, I guess. So that's my first record I'm going to show. Tempted to get up and put this on and play it while we're talking. Maybe I'll do that. So, Roy Orbison. Another record I'm going to show now is one that I picked up in the spring, and this completes now my Simon and Garfunkel collection. I know that they've released just in the past decade or two a couple of live albums, which I'm not going to go and try and collect. I mean, if they jump out at me, I'll take them home, but I'm not going to go hunt for them or anything like that. But this is the first album by Simon and Garfunkel. Wherever I've lived, I've sort of nearly never seen this in a while, and I picked this up as well for a couple of pounds. Great to have to complete my collection. From the same shop that I got the Simon and Garfunkel record, I got this one. This is Canned Heat Cookbook, Canned Heat Cookbook. It's a compilation of tracks from their first 4 albums. It's on Liberty. Again, this was very cheap, marked down very cheap. So I got this from the Oxfam shop in a small town called Penarth, close to where I live. And they seem to have somebody new working there at this Oxfam shop, some marking the records. The man that did it before, I don't know what's happened to him. I mean, he was quite a good guy, very nice and friendly, approachable. And I don't know why he's not doing it anymore, but I think the new person that they've got doing it seems to be someone of extremes. You know, they obviously look up these things, probably follow the prices guide on Discogs, and they're sort of meticulous. So with a record like this, and like I showed the Simon and Garfunkel record, there's a bit of ring wear. They sort of severely mark it down. This was marked up at £1.99, and with a sticker on the record, so almost apologising for the bad state of the cover. Now, it's worn, but it's an old record. In 1970 this came out. I don't insist on these things being pristine or fantastically preserved. It's lovely if it is, but if they're not, I'm quite happy to pay a couple of quid for an iconic record. Like I said, this track's mainly from their first 4 albums. Great to have in the collection. Here's a record that I picked up from a car boot sale. I paid £1 for this. I'd never heard of these before. It's The Young Idea. Came out in the latter part of the 60s, around about 66 I think this came out, and this is their only album. This guy here, I believe, Tony Cox. Now, he apparently left after this and got into record producing and arranging, sort of behind the scenes sort of thing, and he had sort of a hand in producing some of the early progressive rock bands. I know he had something to do with Yes and Renaissance, a few other people that I can't remember right now. I'll put a list here of bands that he sort of was part of producing, and he still has his own website up now. I was looking at it a little earlier on. I'm a little bit sad really. This chap, he reminded me of that the tragic dad in the Fast show that once played bass in a band and sort of lived on its small amount of prestige since. And this chap is still working in music, but sadly he's sort of almost sort of long lost and forgotten about, I suppose. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I just haven't heard of him, but anyway, so that's a record, 60s record. I did a little bit of a needle drop with this one. I quite like the cover.
Just look at the rain, forgotten my umbrella, I'm never gonna get to her in time. Just one of those days, the world's unlucky fella, just because the weather isn't fine, I can't be there.
Here's an album that well, I won't say splashed out on, but I bought new. I ordered this from online, and it's not an original. I think it's a reissue of Dusty in Memphis. It's a record that I'd been looking out for some time, but never seen it in the wild. And it's often referenced by all sorts of different people. And also in the spring this year, they had a series of, I think, 2 or 3 documentaries on BBC Radio 4 about Dusty Springfield, and I found them really, really interesting, and that sort of pushed me on to want to get hold of this record even more. And I found it relatively well priced on Amazon and ordered it, and lo and behold, it's a great record. Now I'm a bit more familiar with the things that people say about it. Mercury Records, great to have. And this record came out in 1970, but he's somebody that's known from the 60s. So this is John Sebastian, and he came from the Loving Spoonful. He also had a sort of a surprise appearance, I think, at Woodstock, and that's who he is. He seems to kind of rely heavily on that on this record cover. Great record. On this album, Crosby, Stills and Nash chime in and play some instruments on it. It's what you'd expect, really. Sort of folky rock type stuff from the late 60s Woodstock era. Great record. If you haven't Listen to this, check it out. It's well worth your time if you're into Crosby, Stills and Nash and the Byrds and loving Springfield, so 60s, late 60s folk rock type stuff.
Magical connection, genuine affection, parallel direction, in between the lines, just two kids that made it, never knowing why, chances are created underneath your mind, on a windy street or a subway seat. It's like sunshine when two people meet and speechlessly are spaced right out of time.
This album also was released in 1970, but I'm going to show it because it's a compilation and the tracks on this are, again, more than likely ones that were released in the 60s. So it's a double compilation of Nancy Sinatra. Well, this is Nancy Sinatra. Paid £1 for this. Lovely condition. Very sassy picture there of Nancy. The inside. Great stuff. I don't have much by her, but the record's in lovely condition. Just an RCA with a shine on that. I always get so happy when I pick something up like this for pennies. I'll probably say that every video I make, I'm sure, but I do. For me, there's a real kick in finding a treasure like that. Great stuff. I can't say I've listened an awful lot to it yet, but hey, I will do one day. Yeah. And then last but not least is an album here that I have. It's a compilation album. I've had this for some while, and it's been one a bit like the Roy Orbison one that was sort of kicked around for a while, and I hadn't showed it, maybe because I just hadn't had the right context. This is a compilation of 60s rock music from the United States. It's fairly typical fare. It's got Simon and Garfunkel on it. It's also got Big Brother and the Holding Company. What else we got? The Byrds, Blood, Sweat and Tears. It's quite a good compilation, sort of a snapshot of the time, I suppose, late 60s. I always thought this was an American release, but it's not. It is. It's pretty much, as far as I can tell, a UK only release. Well, good one to have. One of these days I'll get around to showing my compilations. I sort of pick up these things and pull them out occasionally. Nice to play if you want a little bit more of a sort of a random selection of music. So that's the last 60s record I'm going to show. Here I'm going to tack on the end here of this particular video showing of records that I got as VCLT from John Downing. Now, John sent me a surprise package. I wasn't expecting anything, so it was really nice to receive in the post. And John sent me a handful of things. He wrote me a nice letter and sent me a bunch of records. This is a heavy metal compilation, pretty much sort of 80s style metal here. Great stuff. Yeah, I've got a small collection of this type of compilation in my metal shelves upstairs. I don't have this one, so it's great to have that. Thanks very much, John. And John knows that I like Ella Fitzgerald, so he passed this along to me. Lovely record, thank you very much. I've been enjoying this. Songs for Swingers. I hope that's not some sort of a proposition, John. I'm a happily married man. But anyway, it's a great record. I've been enjoying this. On Sundays when I play jazz mainly, had it on the turntable yesterday too. Great stuff. And the last record John sent was this original folk blues from the Deep South. John explained he's not necessarily a huge blues fan, so he was quite happy to pass this along. This is on United. Yeah, this is really sort of rootsy. I suppose you'd say rootsy or folky blues. Very acoustic, very old recordings. So I'm not that familiar with some of the names of people on this record. John Henry, Pinetop Slim, Leroy Simpson, Big Bill Dotson, Arkansas Johnny Todd, Pinetop Slim. Yeah, I mean they're names that I'm not familiar with, but it's great to have as blues reference, because as I get further into the blues, I'm going to come across some of these names and references. So yeah, great one for reference. Okay, everybody, thanks very much for watching. Yeah, I've got a few ideas of what I'm going to do for videos this season. Got loads of records to show, and well, looking forward to showing them all to you, and looking forward to catching up with your videos too. Thanks very much for watching. Check out my next video. Bye.